Hi everyone, Katie with Integration Learning here. This next executive functioning skill is a great one, so I hope you're watching closely. Today we'll be discussing how to use a SWOT analysis to help you plan and organize more effectively. What is a SWOT analysis, you ask? Well, this is where the acronym SWOT, S-W-O-T, comes in. It's a method in which you consider and work with your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as they relate to the activity, skill, or goal you are developing. Before we begin going over the characteristics and steps involved in a SWOT analysis, I'd like to emphasize what I think is the most important aspect of this tool. And that is how it allows you to see yourself and your life in a more realistic, more objective, kinder, and more accepting light. It helps you to build what I think is one of the healthiest and most important skills to have, and that is knowing that many things in life are out of our control, definitely more than we'd like to admit to ourselves. But what we can control are our reactions to those things and events. The paradox is having this worldview is that once you accept that most things are out of your control, you feel so much freer. You stop the quixotic and futile quest of desperately clinging to so many things and so many people. You accept the unavoidable in a way that makes it so much less scary. You relax and let go of what you need to. Okay, I'll put away my soapbox now. So first, let's talk about the characteristics of a SWOT analysis. As I mentioned, the S in SWOT stands for strengths. What do we really mean by strengths? Well, we mean those internal things you can control to an extent. The traits you possess already, or that you're building. These include the talents you have as they relate to a particular activity, your level of experience or practice with the chosen activity, your interests and how they enhance or contribute to the activity or goal you're working toward, and finally, confidence you otherwise possess, whether that be in general or as it relates to the thing you want to develop. Next are weaknesses, the W in SWOT. These are also internal items that you can control to a certain extent. They include the stuff you think you're bad at, but you can actually work on, the stuff you don't know, but you can either learn or outsource to someone who does, depending on your resources, and finally, your level of engagement, or the extent to which you care about and are invested in the goal you're trying to reach. Third, we have the O in SWOT, opportunities. These are external things you can't control, but you can work with them to your advantage. They might also be emergent, changing, or new things related to your goal that you're actually excited about learning or delving into. As such, they may or may not be things you anticipate. Finally, the T in SWOT analysis is for threats. Threats, like opportunities, encompass stuff that is external and therefore out of our control. But unlike opportunities, threats are things you believe or know can harm your performance toward reaching your goal. But sometimes they're not in actuality. Sometimes they're just perceived. Sometimes they're just things that make you feel threatened or scared, and therefore negatively affect your progress by stopping you in your tracks. Do your best to acknowledge threats and engage in threat assessment in an objective and not heightened state. Since they can also be unanticipated, it helps to remind yourself that threats, like all things, will pass. So don't get hung up or hyperfixate on them to the point of paralysis. Next, we can talk about the steps in a SWOT analysis from start to finish. The first thing you'll want to do is research and collect data. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to find scholarly journal articles or crack open a bunch of books. It can be as informal and simple as perceiving the world around you. That being said, Google and ChatGPT are also helpful informal research tools if you want to use them. The next phase in a SWOT analysis is identifying your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Write these down. It may help to brainstorm first and then organize them into written out categories. Third, you're going to analyze and prioritize what you've already written down. This way, you not only evaluate how important each item is, but also how you'll prioritize all the items in your plan as they relate to one another. The fourth thing you'll do is develop strategies. Work smarter, not harder, in other words. How are you going to use your strengths and possible opportunities to the best of your ability? How will you mitigate your weaknesses and potential threats? Finally, implement strategies. This is the time to pivot from thinking and planning to actually doing what you need to in order to achieve your goals. So it's critical that you do that last step. Now, I've provided a SWOT analysis that I've drawn up for myself as an example. In this SWOT analysis, my goal is to exercise more and get in better shape. I'll walk you through what I consider so that it helps you see what the first two steps in a SWOT analysis look like. If you'd like, you can always comment steps 3 to 5 below of what you think I should prioritize and how you think I should plan my next steps. So let's look at this. Well, first I wrote down my strengths. And my strengths in the SWOT analysis are that I love to do cardio. I'm very committed to my health. I'm fortunate in that I've always kind of been an exerciser. I live near the gym that I go to. I also live in a safe neighborhood, depending on whether I want to work out at the gym or if I want to go for a walk, a run, something like that, a bike ride, what have you. I'm very lucky in that I have a ton of energy usually, especially in the summertime because, as you know, I'm an educator, and so I have a little more free time to burn that energy. So those are the strengths I have when it comes to planning a workout regimen that's going to help me stay healthy and get in better shape. Now, my weaknesses, right? Also internal things that are somewhat within my control. My first weakness is that I hate lifting weights. I've always hated I've loved cardio my whole life. I've hated lifting weights. I begin to lack motivation when life does get busy. So when kind of summer's over and fall starts and I have to go back to the educator grind, I start to lose a little bit of motivation as it pertains to working out. I also love sweets. So I have to be mindful of that because that can definitely get in the way of issues of health and staying fit. And sometimes I will give up if I don't see immediate results, especially in areas where I kind of come and go as I please, and exercise is one of those. Now, next are my threats. And the threats, again, are external factors that I don't really have control over. And because I am a woman that lives in public, right? Unfortunately, some of these threats have to do with creepy guys at the gym, creepy guys out in public. I'm definitely not saying that all guys are creepy, so don't take any of this personally. But again, as someone who's lived as a woman in this culture for my entire life, I've brushed up against that a lot. So that's a threat to me because I don't know what these people are capable of, and I don't always know what their intentions are. I don't know them, right? I just know that they're either saying or doing something that makes me feel uncomfortable or even possibly unsafe. Now, sort of less threatening, but still a threat to my pocketbook is that my gym parking costs money. I live in Los Angeles. If you want to breathe air in Los Angeles, you have to pay money. So, parking is, as anyone know who lives in the Los Angeles area, is usually privatized and costs some money. And the last one is time and access. I don't go to a 24-hour gym, nor would I want to, but I have work, I have other life activities that I have to do. My gym is only open for a certain amount of time. Again, I'm a woman living in this culture, so I don't like to be out at night because that's not necessarily safe. So those are kind of the major threats that I deal with and that I have to anticipate in this SWOT analysis of when is going to be the best time for me to get these workouts in what environments are going to be best, how I mitigate running into people who might threaten my safety. I have to plan for that. Doesn't mean I have to go hide in my house and never come out again. That is not objective threat assessment. What it means is that I take what I know and I plan accordingly. And then the last one is opportunities. So the first thing I thought of is there's always new types of exercises and workouts coming out, especially in Southern California, right? People here love fitness. So there's always some new thing that I can try if what I'm doing is getting stale or old, or I just find that the new thing works better or best for me. That helps me stay motivated to keep working out, which is a wonderful opportunity. Another one is at my gym, there's a rapid charger and I have an electric car. So I definitely see this. So I'm always like a killing two birds with one stone kind of a person. And so if I can charge my car while I'm working out, that's definitely an opportunity for me to get multiple things done at the same time. And I am a huge fan of that, especially when it doesn't involve a lot of work on my part. So that's definitely an opportunity. And the last one is that I have a friend, my friend Juan works near where I work out, like literally only several hundred feet away. I love Juan. If I want to go visit Juan and say hi, that motivates me to go to the gym so that I get to see Juan and work out and maybe charge my car. So that's definitely an opportunity, not only for my health physically, but my mental health, because I get to be around my friend. So that's what a typical writing down of a SWOT analysis can look like. Again, I think a fun thing for you to do would be to consider what I wrote down and maybe come up with your own that apply to you that maybe I didn't think of. And then, again, complete steps 3 through 5 of your own SWOT analysis, either of what I wrote down or anything you wrote for yourself that is entirely independent of this, but equally important, obviously, and come up with a plan and execute that plan. Because everyone's plan is going to look a little bit different. I may come up with a plan for my SWOT analysis that keeps in mind the time schedule I like to be on, the place where I live, the other things I have going on. Now, for each one of us, that looks a little bit different, right? Some of us work at night, some of us work in the morning, some of us live on the West Coast, some of us live on the East Coast. Some of us have a variety of factors that make us unique to who we are and make our experience unique to who we are. So each one of us, our steps 3 through 5 of the SWOT analysis is going to look different. And again, it's going to look like however it looks that works best for us. And that is the most important thing. You don't want to be living by someone else's rules. You don't want to be living according to someone else's schedule. So make your SWOT analysis work for you. But again, I thought this would be a helpful example for us to just consider, because it's something that a lot of us think about, working out and all that stuff. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, if you like this video and other videos that I put up, please feel free to like, or if you feel a little more committed, subscribe to my page. You can also visit my website at www.integrationeducation.com. And if nothing else, just please be kind to yourselves.